All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about a tool that, honestly, most of us probably use every single day without even thinking about it, Google Sheets. But to really get why it was such a game changer, we need to take a step back and remember the absolute headache it was designed to solve.
I'm talking about a world filled with digital paperwork, total chaos when it came to version control, and, that very specific kind of confusion that can completely derail a project.
I mean, you've been there, right? You're frantically searching your email for the latest budget, and your inbox just looks like a total mess. And the smoking gun? It's always that file name. Something that looks a little like this.
So, which one is it? Which one is the actual final version? Is it V2 or V4? And wait, did Jen's edits even make it into the approved file? This whole mess, it's really just a symptom of a much bigger problem. You've lost your single source of truth. The second everyone has their own separate copy of a file, you're not really collaborating anymore. You're just creating digital echoes of the same document. It's not just inefficient, it's a recipe for disaster and misunderstanding.
Okay, so to fix this, a new wave of tools came along and asked a really fundamental question, one that completely reimagined what a document could even be. And that question was, what if a spreadsheet wasn't a static file? Not something you have to save, then attach to an email, then send off into the void. What if there was a totally different way to think about it?
What if it was a living, breathing, shared space, like a central destination where the whole team could show up and work at the exact same time? And that, right there, is the core idea behind Google Sheets. It's not a file you pass around, it's a place you all go to. It creates that single source of truth by its very design.
So what does that actually mean? Well, at its heart, it's cloud-based, which is just a fancy way of saying it lives online, not stuck on one person's computer. And because of that, you get two magical things: real-time collaboration and access from any device. Suddenly, the data isn't chained to a single laptop or a single user. It's free. And that just unlocks a whole new level of access and, honestly, transparency.
And you have to understand, this new way of working, it's not just some small technical change. It fundamentally rewrites the DNA of how a team works together. I mean, think about it. You can literally see your coworker's colorful little cursor dancing across the cells as they update the numbers. Instead of switching over to your email to ask a question, you can just tag them in a comment, right there in cell B4. And this is huge. Version history becomes your own personal time machine. That whole final_V4 nightmare we talked about? Gone. Poof. Every single change is tracked, and you can roll back to any previous version with just one click.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. For a real small business owner, making this switch wasn't just a nice little convenience. It was a total game changer for their workflow. All that time they used to waste hunting down the right file, they got that time back and could actually invest it in their business. That's what we're talking about, turning better collaboration directly into real, tangible value.
Okay, so this all leads us to the big question, the elephant in the room. For decades, one name basically was spreadsheets, Microsoft Excel. So how do Sheets and Excel really stack up against each other?
The best way to look at this isn't about which one is better. It's more like, what's the right tool for this specific job? If your number one priority is getting your team to work together seamlessly, in real time, making sure everyone can get to the file, well, Sheets was born to do that. But if you're a power user, someone doing super complex financial models or wrestling with gigantic data sets completely offline, then yeah, the sheer horsepower of desktop Excel has been the king for a long, long time.
And that difference really gets down to the core design philosophy. See, for Google Sheets, collaboration wasn't some feature they bolted on later. No, it was the whole point. It was their North Star from day one. The entire system is built around this idea of a shared, living document. And that gives it this incredible natural advantage whenever teamwork is involved.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. The real magic of Sheets isn't just about what you can do inside those cells and columns. It's about how being untethered and cloud-native lets it connect to the whole world outside the spreadsheet.
Think of it this way. It's not an island. It's more like a busy airport hub. Because it lives in the cloud, Sheets can talk to all these other apps and services without any friction. It can become the central nervous system for all your data.
Let me give you a perfect example. Imagine you create a quick survey using Google Forms.
The very second someone clicks Submit on that form, bam, their answers instantly show up as a brand new row in your Google Sheet. There's no importing, no exporting, no tedious copy-pasting. It just works. Then you can take that live data, build a cool dashboard, and just share a link that updates itself in real time. It's an entire automated system, and you can build it in literally minutes.
So, let's wrap this up. What are the big things to remember? First, Sheets is built from the ground up for real-time teamwork. It's in its DNA. Second, its superpower is just how accessible it is. It frees your work from being trapped on one computer. And third, you put those two together and you get the perfect tool for any fast-moving project where having one single, live version of the truth isn't just a nice-to-have, it's absolutely essential.
And that really leaves us with one final big idea to chew on. This whole shift from static files to these living, shared spaces, it's about so much more than just being more productive. It really changes the game for things like transparency, accountability, and what teamwork even means. So the real question is, as these collaborative tools get even better, what new, huge problems can we start to solve together? Problems that were just impossible to tackle before. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.